Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about webcam guide. So let's dive right into it. Now, you have to understand why I'm making this is it's still very important. Even after the corona is gone, more and more people are still using it as a primary means of communication and work. And many times you may have international clients, or maybe you want to open a second YouTube channel, or have something else. Many times we need this sort of thing, even just for making tutorials, even for your future self. So it's one of those things that is becoming more and more important. So doing it properly, it's worthwhile. So which camera you should buy? Generally, 99% of the time, everybody will simply say the one thing: close your eyes and buy this puppy, meaning Logitech C922. Now you can buy a C920, even though it's discontinued, a lot of stocks were still available. And again, it's one of those cameras that has been in the top spot for a decade. I'm not joking, like that's how old this webcam is. Like this series C920 is old, and it's like so successful. It's been there like for like many YouTube creators started out their live stream with this puppy, like Draw with Jaza is one of them. So it's very good. It's known pro quality, meaning if you have this webcam and things are not looking good, there is a fault in your side of equipment, not in the webcam. It's known quality. It's not the greatest, but it's one of those things where it's like, if it's still garbage, then you have some problem. It may be like, what, I could expect a bit more, then you can go into higher camera. But if this is not looking like a flat out, dude, this is garbage, that means there is some fault either in your computer software pipeline or like in your lighting setup generally. And it does have 720p 60 fps, but do not touch that. That's garbage. It's like most people are suggesting that it's just 30 fps interplaced with more artificial frames, meaning it's just guessing the frame data, so it's very smeary. I've tried it, it's just bad. And if you really want to go into 4K, if you're like, Logitech is a known brand, trusted brand, how about I spend more on it? You can go into Logitech 4K, same thing. It still has full HD 60 fps, but that's also garbage. But it does have a Windows Hello. If you need those sort of thing, that would be a desirable thing. It does have 4K, but be mindful which communication app allows you to have 4K transmission. Like Google Meet in free format is 720p. Zoom only goes to full HD. Twitch only goes to like 720p. Some scenarios it goes to full HD, but you get the point. Like 4K sounds good, but it's due to compression and reality of telecommunications, it's just not worth it. So that's one of the primary cameras. Just buy this and forget about everything else. Or you may be tempted. There are many cheap cameras, and there are many other branded cameras from like Razer, Intel. Like Intel also tried it. There are a lot of other systems, but be mindful. Most of them are either very very expensive simply because they do not have the economy of scale, or they have very low availability. Meaning it's good luck trying to find it and buy it. So this is one serious issue, especially for Indian markets. Now, if you want to step up, and if you have the GG amounts of moolah in your bank account, then you could go into Elgato Facecam. Now, this puppy was specifically designed by someone who knew a thing or two about webcams, simply because even though Logitech C922 has one of the best autofocus algorithms, it's still not perfect. Meaning, if you, I have made around 1 hour live stream with one individual who was using Sony A7 Mark IV as a webcam mode. It does have that functionality built into it, so you do not need HDMI capture, just USB-C to computer, and it was amazing. Never lost focus, but this lost focus. Now, it does happen. Once in a while, it will happen. It's one of those things that you have to be okay with, and that's why every professional streamer is like, the moment they start to make money, is like, what, let's take a webcam, and let's buy a mirrorless camera. That's the primary reason for that. And if you buy this Facecam, it does not have autofocus. They know for a fact, even if you buy basically a Razer one, the autofocus is just like half of the time is like hunting. So what's the better than hunting? If you have okay enough sharpness in good enough range where you do not have to be like, hey, I really wish it was in focus, then that would be good enough. That's what they did. So they made it good enough. Is it like sharpest lens out there? Hell no. Is it good enough in majority of the range, meaning around from 30 centimeters from the lens to 100 centimeters to the lens? Yes. And that's the whole point, meaning even if you're moving, it's sharp enough. And because of the large sensor, because of the fact that it has enough bit rate to actually justify full HD to 60 fps quality wise, it truly gives really good experience, and many streamers swear by it. And not to mention, when you are doing game streaming, you will be like, even if you are doing a 4K stream or somehow, you will be like in a small corner. So this is more than sufficient enough. And many times you do not want to deal with like hassle of having a second camera as a webcam. Webcams have like the fact, like, plug it, forget it. Other cameras will always have hundreds of hassle. One of my friend who is also a YouTuber, who is using his Sony A6300, I think, as a webcam, and he has a lot to worry about, like, HDMI cable not working sometimes, HDMI to USB not working sometimes, and like, the whole pipeline is like, it's not plug and forget. So that's why many times people still want to buy webcam. Unfortunately, webcam is like, stuck in like 1990s. So this is the best webcam from price to performance point of view. This is another system which is like the best amount of performance you can get. Others are there, but people will generally say stay away from them. So that's the whole point, which webcam to buy. Now, first thing you have to understand, webcams have tiny sensors and even tinier lenses. So consequences, you have to add light. Basically, the more light you add, the good quality light you add, it can make any webcam great. So if you have a camera and it's like, I got the camera, like maybe it's a, pre-built webcam into your laptop or something like that. That's it. Okay, fine. You do not need to buy other things, but you do need to add light properly. The more light you add, the better quality you're gonna get. And if you are like, do not have GG amounts of money and you do not want to have like extra setup like this, what can you do? LED tube lights are your friend. A, they are LEDs, so generally they will not consume too much power. B, because they are diffused, they are already diffused. LEDs are very pointy light source. They are not really good for visual rendition. So you need diffusers on them. They already have it, and because it's a long tube, even the smallest one you're gonna buy is like around 2 foot long or around meter long or something even longer than that. It has enough diffusion that light is like very gentle. And gentle for your eyes also, so meaning you will not be fatigued. For example, this scene is lit by 6 tube lights, LED 20 watt each. So tube lights are your best friend in those sort of scenario. But that's like okay level kind of spending. And please make sure you're not your webcam is not looking into the light. This is one of the common thing. Like I also do a lot of consistency services for other people where they are like they want my time, and it's like I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people have laptop. There's the light and here's the laptop. Basically, laptop camera is looking into the light. It will be blinded. It's useless. It's garbage. Like that's one of those things that you must pay attention to. Where is the light direction also coming from? So tube light is your best friend. But if you really want to step up the game, if you are doing some like a serious interview or like doing live streaming either to school, either to college, or it's something that you have to do again and again, pro level wise, just spend on the damn thing. Spend on basically pro level lights. What does that mean, pro level light? Well, it's simply cine light. Why? What does cine light mean? Video light is basically they generally have high CRI LEDs, meaning if you buy basic no name brand, you will get CRI of around 70. That's okay. But if you want to really have like skin look like skin, you have to have CRI of 90 plus or 95 plus. So in those sort of scenario, you have to have high CRI LEDs, and then your skin tone will look like your skin tone, how a human eye sees it. Rendering skin tone is ludicrously difficult. So if your light source is garbage, no amount of camera sensor, no amount of hulalala can fix it. You have to have quality light. If you do not have quality light, don't worry about like skin tones. First get the quality light, then worry about skin tone. So pro level light, that's the one reason why pro level video lights are so expensive. They are like very high rendition index, color rendition index. The many times people will say natural light. Well, that's amazing. If you have, let's say, window and you're putting your laptop here, you're going to get amazing quality out of it. GG. But here's the problem. It's natural, meaning you do not have any control over it. For example, if I have an individual who's in New York at this point in time, which I actually do, and I have to do video call with him, yeah, no, it will be night here. So that's the one thing you also have to, it's not under your control. For someone who is using it regularly, professionally, it's not acceptable. And anytime you have to make a decision whether you have to buy one big powerful light or have multiple small one, always go for distributed light source. That's why any time of streaming setup you will see there will always be multiple light source. You do not want to have one giant flashing light source. The more light source you have, more distributed it is, the more gentle it will look to the other person, and it will be awesome. What about the software side of things? And this is one thing you must understand. Software also can make or break a equipment. For example, if you have does not have a good driver, or is using like default driver, it may end up crashing. It may end up not being reliable. Random drops. Your zoom might randomly say webcam stopped working. It has happened. And if you want to do something complicated, it's just crashes or blue screens. It does happen. It's very hard to pinpoint. But if you have crappy drivers, they're generally bad enough. So you have to be mindful. That's why many times people generally stay away from no-name brands which are way too cheap in terms of webcam, because they will be using Microsoft's default driver. It's not fine-tuned. Like it will work, that's good, it will work, but it's not fine-tuned. So good drivers are also another thing. Now let's say you got the equipment, you got the lighting, you got the webcam, and you want to take yourself into the next level. What can you do? Well, first tool I would urge you to get familiar with is NDI. Now, problem with a webcam and the way the Windows is built and the drivers are written, it only sends the basically video footage or feed from one camera to one application. So if you want to record, let's say you want to transmit your webcam feed to college or university, okay, awesome. But you also want to record it, side capture it on your OBS, it will not work. Webcam will only go into one software. So if you utilize NDI, you can do whatever you want to do. You can like take the footage, feed it to NDI, and NDI can spit it out to multiple applications, as many applications as you need to. Again, generally you will only need 2 or 3, but it can be done. And NDI, in terms of audio visual industry, it's becoming slowly a very powerful integrated tool. More and more people are using it. It's free for common people, but for commercial scale it does have price. So if you are just an individual, please look into this. It's really good. I have provided a video down below. So that's the NDI tool. It will allow you to do interesting thing. For example, sometimes you want to draw on the footage, where it's like, you have footage, you want to square out something just for doodling sake. You can literally take the feed, that is main feed of OBS, and send it to the other person, recipient. So that way you can do interesting things. You can have side by side face, and you can just draw into things. Basically costume designers, they kind of need this sort of thing. There are many other things. You just let your mind wander. If you have the ability to send camera footage to multiple application, what can you do? You will be surprised how much things your mind can do. Then what if you do not want to buy a webcam? You have the lighting, but you are really not happy with webcam that is built into your laptop. Generally, basically your camera, mobile phone generally has much better camera. So what can you do? You just utilize an application like IVCam, and IVCam also has this advantage. The drivers are written so well. It is paid application, but it does have the advantage that A, you can record full HD 60 fps, assuming your mobile phone can do it, and B, it can send to multiple applications. So it's also really awesome. So feeding to multiple software, generally NDI is the perfect tool, especially webcam input side. And you can see it goes even further. Like you can have VLC NDI output, and you can have NDI for After Effects also. There are many things that can be done. So I would urge you, if you're serious about footage and streaming and things of that nature, look into NDI. At bare minimum, just know how to have webcam footage go into multiple applications. I have tested this puppy with Google Meet, Zoom, and OBS. But the only time I have issue where it's like I'm trying to do Insta streaming. Instagram does not like it. But other than that, everything else works. So that's the whole point of it, software side. So what about the setup? Now, first and foremost, the one thing that you must pay attention to is eye line, meaning thou shall not have camera looking through your nose. I recently saw a very powerful interview from a amazing woman, and the problem was her laptop was very down low, and she was looking like this was my footage. That's how I was looking at it. And it's one of those things, that's how you can say like somebody who's working on the other end is very amateur or professional. That's the one thing you will never have, never in a cinema, never in television or broadcast will have a camera that's looking down here. And in cinema, if it's done very creatively. So show you as an imposing figure. And you may be like, is it important? Absolutely. Especially if you are applying for a job or you want to appear as a teacher, this sort of thing creates a subconscious reaction. You may not want that. That's why people always want to make sure that you are at eye level. Face level, perfect. Eye level, GG, is G-spot. And then you want to a bit up if you want to appear as a bit more humble. And if you want to if you're a teacher, you want to I still want to dominate a bit, little bit less, like nose level basically. So, and these are subconscious cues that you want to, not want to as in they are there. You want to control it, you want to channel it. It's like, especially if you are applying for a job interview or you are going through a conference or things of that nature, you want to appear as humble. I'm your humble somebody. You're camera is a little bit up. If you're but I know what I'm talking about, but I still want to be gentle. It's nose level. And if you really want to look at me, just drop it down. So these are very basic level thing, but it matters a lot. And what can you do if you're let's say you have a laptop? What can you do? First thing, elevate the goddamn laptop. It's not that difficult. You may have some shoe boxes, you may have a bucket. Invert the bucket, put the laptop on top of it. Make sure it's here, eye to eye. That's one thing that you must make sure. Eye to eye must happen. This is a very common thing, but it must happen. Now you may be like, is it really worth it? Let's say you are talking about doing an interview, HR or whatever have you, whatever the reason you are watching this video, is it worth to put that much time and effort? Short answer, yes, it will pay off. Ask anyone who have done it and they are like, yeah, it paid off. Flat out it paid off. So it's one of those things that it does help. And if you really want to impress someone, go on to full out and go what we call 3-point lighting. Now why we would do 3-point lighting? First, there will be a key light. Generally no light would be exactly at 90 degrees. So if my camera is here, the lighting would be, key light would be somewhere around here. It will be broadcasting. Generally they say 45 degree. So that's one light. That's the majority of illuminations will come from there. Then you'll have a second light. Again, all the lights must be above camera lens. It will be here and it will be fill light. And then you'll have a backlit. Now you're like, why the heck you have backlight? Backlight is the perfect way to isolate the subject from the background. Unless you have very high camera bokeh, you will have the issue where subject looks like it's blending into the system. It's like, it's just blur. You don't want that blur. You want to like pop out. So how do you pop out? You make sure you have a backlight. So that's why 3-point light is generally preferred in almost everything. So if you can do it, if you can like, muster the effort and all that algorithm, do it. And I guarantee you would be shocked how people respond to you on the other end. Like, think of this, like you have a meh kind of setup, and the moment you come as like, here's, ladies and gentlemen, eye to eye contact, and I have 3-point lighting setup. You don't even have to say it. That directly gives you a subconscious boost. You should have that boost. And another thing, this is very hard to learn. And I personally, talking from 4 years of YouTube experience, if you watch my older videos, I'm always looking on the camera screen that is on that side. But like, it took me some very hard effort. It's like, no to yes, no to yes. And this is one thing that you must train yourself to look into the lens as much as possible. Again, I'm still not perfect, and you can check my live stream recently I done, and I was like, I still look at the screen, but again, I'm reading comments and chats and all that. It is an issue. I have to, constantly make an effort. No, look at the lens. Look at the lens. So these things, if you put the elbow grease into it, I guarantee it will, come back in multiple folds, where you're like, you know what, I spent like, let's say, equivalent of $100 in effort, you will get 1,000 in return. That's my guarantee. So, because be mindful, there are many things that are subconscious level. So you want to control it. You want to be like, you know what, I do not want to, appear as this, or maybe you want to appear as that. Then also you can control. So these are the setup aspect of it. So this was my presentation on webcam setup. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.